Hello, Ironbound Jim. Welcome to Tai Chi and Qigong with things that everything else is built upon. So, pay attention to your feet. Get them about shoulder width apart. Outsides of the feet line up with the outsides of the shoulder. There's a second shoulder width where the insides of the feet line up with the outsides of the shoulders. We'll use that some too, but for now, I'm going to use that smaller base. Try to get your feet parallel. If that causes you issues, remember with this, there's a 70% rule. Only 70% of whatever you're capable of at this moment. You ease into it. You don't push it. So if you have to have your toes out a little bit, that's okay. The foundation is going to be everything inside an imaginary line around the outsides of our feet. So that's a rectangle down there. And we want to be centered over that rectangle so our balance is as good as it can be. We're in harmony with gravity. You want to pay attention to how the bottoms of your feet feel. If you're wearing shoes and socks, how they feel inside the shoes, how they feel through the shoes to the floor or to the ground if you're outside on the ground. And the visualization the Chinese would use would be even stronger. You visualize yourself connecting through, like I'm on a deck, through the deck into the earth below. And you have acupuncture points in the center of your forefoot. Zhongqian, or the K1 acupressure points on the translates roughly as bubbling wells. And you can almost massage those as you're doing this with little shifts back and forth. But you can have an energetic connection with the earth, a magnetic connection with the earth. The most stable connection, remember, is a 3-point stance like the old milking stools that wouldn't rock regardless of where they were put. So you can use 3 points in each foot to stabilize you. Ball of the foot at the base of the big toe, ball of the foot at the base of the little toe, in the center of the heel, and just visualize the roots growing down into the earth. Rooting is a big visualization in Tai Chi Chuan and Qigong. Again, you can visualize clean, healthy energy coming up from the earth into your body from there, or you can just visualize it stabilizing you. And just sink down into it and start to feel evenly balanced on each side. Oftentimes we tend to favor one side over the other. Our internal organs aren't symmetrical, so we will often stand favoring one foot, but we want to come right back to the middle. Have your knees lined up with your toes. Sometimes, particularly if you're flat-footed, your feet, when you get really solid down into them, they flatten out and towards the middle. Just bring your arches up so your knees are lined up with your toes. Everything, every movement that we do, knees are going to be lined up with your toes, and the knee is never going to go beyond the toe. So if you shift and adjust one foot to 45 degrees, bring the other foot in and step up to 90 degrees so that you're in a bow and arrow stance or a bow stance, archer stance. Knees are lined up with the toes, but the knees are staying behind the toes. So if you were to drop a line from your knee, it would go down behind the tips of your toes. Takes the pressure off your knees when you do that. Once you've got yourself firmly grounded to the earth, you want to connect yourself to the heavens. Chinese philosophy, yin energy in the earth, yang energy in the heavens, humans in between. So we want to get a balance of that as well. We're not just in harmony with gravity, but we're in balance with the whole cosmos. That whole organic system, that organism that's the earth and the universe. You have an acupressure point, not quite the center of the top of your head. It's where the crown chakra is, the crown of your head, the last part of your skull to harden up after you're born. The Ba Wei, the meeting of 100 places. You can visualize an energetic connection there pulling you up, a line attached there pulling you upwards, up towards the sky. And as it does, it stretches you. It makes you taller. It stacks your vertebrae on top of each other. As it lifts you upwards, your spine takes on more of a J shape instead of that usual kind of curvy S shape. So it flattens out your stomach and your lower back. Your tailbone drops down. If you're built so that doesn't feel comfortable for you, just relax into whatever feels best. There are cultures in India where, because of the way they walk, their spine has that natural J shape, and they never have back pain. I wish I'd known that much sooner. How I walk. Tops of your hips become parallel to the floor. Tops of your shoulders become parallel to the floor. They relax down a center line. Shoulder blades relax like they're running down your back. So your shoulders aren't slouched forward. They're not pulled back. They're not up around your ears like you're really stressed. They're just relaxed down a center line. An imaginary line across your eyes and ears becomes parallel to the floor. So your head's not tilted to one side or the other. It's also not tilted to the front or the back. Back of your head rises up, your chin tucks in a little bit. Moves your head back so your head becomes nice and balanced on your shoulders. If you were to drop a line from that bow waist spot, like a pendulum, down right through the center of your body, through the perineum, Huyin, Chinese, it would hit the floor right in the middle of your foundation. And again, depending on how you built that, might be equally distant from your ankles, equally distant from those bubbling wells, or somewhere in between. Just relax into that. One thing you might notice, to be balanced like this, there's some bend in your knees. And we're always going to have some bend in our knees. Never going to fully lock a joint, never going to fully compress a joint. Same thing true with the elbows. And again, the 70% rule applies there. Don't push things. Just relax into them, flow into them. So now if you were to drop a line from your earlobe, it goes to the center of your shoulder, center of your hip, center of your ankle, bend in your knees. So at this point, you are in harmony with gravity as best as you can be, centered over your foundation. And you can focus on your breathing. Because the breath basically controls life for us. You get excited, you breathe more quickly. When you get anxious, you breathe from up here. As we get older, we typically breathe from up here anyway. So we tend to feel anxious even when there's no need to, because that's getting feedback to our brain that, oh, we're breathing from up here. There must be something going on. To relax yourself, you breathe from down here. The abdomen, as low in the abdomen as you can, but again, don't push it. Just relax into it. So on the inhale, you pull the diaphragm down, because that's what your diaphragm is one of the things it's meant to do, is to breathe. And that's how we breathe when we're first born. Diaphragm pulls down, it pulls air down into lower parts of the lungs, and you feel an expansion in the front, the sides, and the back. There are breathing exercises you can do where you focus inhaling to the front of the abdomen, to the sides of the abdomen, and to the back of the abdomen. If you're sitting in a chair, when you do the lower back breathing, you can really feel your back expand and contract in the chair. So that's kind of a nice experiment to try sometime. 70% rule applies to this too. Don't try to inhale the entire room you're in. On the inhale, it also kind of increases your heart rate. So again, take it easy on that. On the exhale, you want to make that longer, because that's when the heart rate, the blood pressure goes down. And you start to engage that relaxation response, your blood sugar drops, blood goes from your arms and legs back into your torso so you can rest and digest. Even your pupil size change as you become more relaxed. As you breathe, you touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. Chinese medicine is connecting two major energy channels in your body: conception vessel, governing vessel. Doesn't matter if you believe that or not. When you touch your tongue there and press just right, you also disengage the muscles in your jaw, so you can't clench your teeth. As you breathe in, just follow the air as it goes down your throat into your lungs. As you breathe out, if you want, you can breathe out through your mouth. You just release the tongue and sigh. And with that sound, you let whatever tightness is inside, whatever tension is inside, whatever anxiety is inside, whatever stress there is, just go into your breath, go out through the air and dissipate. So just breathe at your own pace, making the exhale last longer than the inhale. If you want to exhale through your mouth, that's through your nose, that's okay too. Just keep breathing at your own pace, making the exhale longer than the inhale. I've got my hands over the lower dantian. For guys, it's left hand in, right hand on top. For women, it's the other way around, but whichever way feels best for you. Just keep breathing, and if you feel any tightness, any tension anywhere across the top of your head, your forehead, your eyes, your ears, your jaw, around your mouth, just breathe into that tightness, breathe into that tension, and let it soften and relax. And your ears, down your neck, into your shoulders, and your arms, into your wrists and hands and foot, and let it soften. In the upper part of your back through the shoulders, down into your lower back, your chest, your stomach. If you feel any tightness anywhere, just breathe into it and let it soften. Your hips and your thighs and hamstrings into your knees, your shins and calves and your ankles, your feet and toes. If you feel any tightness anywhere, just breathe into it. Let it soften. Just relax. Let your shoulders relax, your neck. Just bring your hands down to your side and just follow along. Let your arms float up with your palms facing. Use the muscles in your upper back. Turn your hands toward you, press in, drop your elbows, press your head back just a little bit so you feel some movement in your neck. Turn your hands and you press out. The hands come down. Tuck your chin just a bit. Feel some more stretch in your neck. It's an inhale and an exhale. And an inhale and an exhale. And you want to make the movement slow and graceful, just like you're moving through a gentle resistance. Inhale up. Exhale. When you move your arms out, keep some bend in your elbow, but let your arms extend outwards. You feel the shoulder blades kind of separate from each other. Arms lengthen, all the joints expand outwards. Hands come down. Chin tucks, everything just relaxes back to that center line. Remember that expansion and contraction of the joints, the yin-yang. Actually, it would be yang-yin with expansion and contraction. Loosening up, getting that synovial fluid moving in your joints, increasing your flexibility. And it's done in all of Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan. Arms come up again, palms facing. One hand comes down, palm faces towards the floor, other arm folds over. You have Laogong points where your fingers touch your palms. Again, it's acupressure points. You want to line that up with upper dantian, third eye from yoga. Shoulder nice and relaxed. You want to keep these 2 points, the upper dantian and the Laogong point of the hand, connected. As you turn 70% of your range of motion to feel that stretch in your neck, you come back to the center. Trade places with the hands. Exhale to the side. Inhale to the center. Just move like you're moving through water, through a gentle resistance. With all the rain we've had, it's fairly easy to do. Just relax, turn your head to one side, let your chin drop down, roll across the bottom. Don't press it down though, just let it roll back to the center line and straight across as you inhale. Exhale when it goes across the bottom. And then reverse. Back to the center, shoulder rolls to the front. Remember, if you have issues with your rotator cuffs, just turn your hands so your palms are facing behind you and make the circles with your elbows. Again, you adapt this to what works best for you and your body, and that'll change from day to day. So you don't have to look exactly like anyone else. Just remember the principles we go over constantly of posture, balance, and breathing. And then reverse. Those principles you can do anytime, anywhere. Become more of a way of life than just some practice you do from time to time. And arms float up. First the palms face down, bringing in yin energy from the earth into the logon points. They point upwards. Yang energy from the heavens, fold over, press down. This is one where you can do a visualization of bringing clean energy in, pressing it down through your body and expelling that gray stagnant energy out through those bubbling wells into the earth and have it dissipate away from you. Or you can just enjoy the stretch, whatever works for you. And just remember to inhale and exhale. Back to the center. Arms float up with your palms facing. Again, they have that sung. They expand outwards. Hands come back towards your shoulders and press out. But remember, you don't fully extend, so there's always some bend in the elbow, and they don't fully compress. When you come back, it's an exhale and an inhale. And then when your fingers are pointed straight up, just pause there, let your hands tilt towards and away from you. And then towards and away from each other. Circles one way, circles the other way. Bring your hands together. Circles one way, other way. Hands back out to the side, arms open, open that upper chest. As you inhale, exhale, and they come back to the center. And if you can't bring your forearms together, you can have your elbows out. That's okay. It's an inhale and an exhale. Do that how. Make sure, and if you have a ball about this size at home, and practice this too. It helps loosen up your wrists. They actually sell custom-made wooden taiji balls. They are way out of my price range, but they're about this size, and it's for practicing, for instance. Keeping your palms lined up. You can do it with a stick too. There's an actual form called taiji bang or taiji stick. Have your hands about waist high, tips facing. On the inhale, just rock forward on the forefoot to massage that bubbling well. Expand all the joints in the hand and rock back and just let everything relax. And it's an inhale. As As you rock forward, expand the hands, exhale, rock back, keeping that pendulum within the foundation. So when you rock forward, it doesn't go beyond the line between your toes. When you rock back, it doesn't go back beyond the line between your heels. It's a way to sort of massage your hands and feet at the same time while doing relaxation breathing. Make fists, bring your arms out. Inhale, expand your arms, exhale, let them come back. Inhale, exhale. Just kind of shake your hands out. Let's kind of shake everything. Gonna bounce around a little bit. Shaking your chi, opening up your energy channels. Come back to hold the ball again. Lower hand rotates out, presses upward, upper hand presses down. Maybe a little bit of a turn to the side of the upper hand. Come back down as you inhale, exhale. Just do one more. Come back. Got this hand on top, so I'm going to rotate on the center axis. My center axis goes from the byway to the perineum to wherever the pendulum hits on the floor in the center. And we're going to rotate from the hips up, everything from the hips down stays nice and still. Again, this is a good one to do seated in a chair because it lets you know if you're turning your whole, keeping your hips and your shoulders lined up. You put a lot of stress on your knees. You have to bend your knees in order to do it that way. This, we're just focusing on the back. So I just turn until my hands line up with the hip on that side, and keeping those palms facing, turn, come back. Just synchronize your breathing so you're inhaling in one direction and exhaling in the other. Bring your hands to one side like you're pressing into a wall. Shift your weight over into that foot. So now the pendulum goes straight down through the leg into that foot. So there's no weight in this foot at all. Okay, reach out and feel some stretch in your hip. Come back. It's an exhale and an inhale. Back to the center, hands come down, palms facing towards the floor. You're back in that central neutral position with the feet parallel, shoulder width apart. Shift all your weight into one foot. Hands go back a little bit to counterbalance. Empty foot goes up, heel touches. Arms go forward, body stays straight. Forefoot touches behind you. You balance right over this foot, so you're not leaning into a warrior three pose. You're just moving your hip and your shoulders. If you're working on balance, you don't even have to touch your foot down. I always think of the arms like a counterweight and the leg like a pendulum swinging. Other side. Back to the center. Then you have your feet. So your toes are pointed towards the corner. There's a little bit of space between your heels. Otherwise, everything's the same. And remember, your knees are lined up with your toes. Have fists at your hips. Shift your weight into one foot. Rotate the empty foot on the forefoot so the toe is straight ahead. It goes straight forward, forefoot touches, and you counterbalance by punching with the opposite arm. Come back. It's an exhale, an inhale, Come back to center. We're going to go into that bow and arrow archer stance we talked about earlier. So shift your weight to one side. Again, rotate that foot, step straight up. So you have space between your feet. When you shift your weight forward, you're stable in all directions because you have that space. What you don't want to do is line them up because then you don't have stability side to side. And you punch with the opposite arm and come back. And it's an exhale and an inhale. And this is a really good one to do, the principle of song. When you reach out, you just let everything expand outwards and stretch. Again, stay in your comfort zone though. Exhale and inhale. And come back to center. Get yourself back in that central neutral position, and then for the ankles, it's a heel and toe. We do the same thing on the other side. And then for the lateral motion of the ankles, pick a spot where a couple boards come together, outside, inside, the foot touches close to the same spot as you can. Same thing on the other side. And then being very gentle with your ankles, knees, and hips. Shift your weight over and just let things first go in one direction, then the other direction. Same thing on the other side. And in the other direction. Come back to center. And we're going to do pouring, where you just shift your weight one side to the other. So you visualize that pendulum being in the middle of this foot. As you go to the other side, it goes to the middle of the other foot. The pouring part is visualizing, or even trying to feel, warm, salty water that's the same salinity and temperature as your body, going from one leg to the other, cleansing every cell in your body from one side to the other. You can do it slowly, quickly. Again, whatever works best for you. You're focusing on your breathing, inhaling, exhaling. So it's inhale as you start to shift. Exhale. And this also helps with balance because you're paying attention to how the bottoms of your feet feel as you move the weight from one side to the other. And keeping yourself over your foundation. Now we're just going to start to do the swing. As you shift your weight from one side to the other, your arms swing like your hands are tether balls attached directly to your spine. You can let your head move with your shoulders with your eyes closed and visualize yourself in a place where you feel very safe and secure. If doing this with your eyes closed makes you feel a little seasick, you just open your eyes, look straight ahead, keeping your eyes on something that's not moving. When your arms swing, your wrist hits right in the center of the buttock, which is another acupressure point. The empty foot, the heel comes up off the ground. So you're just kind of turning on that center axis from one side to the other, keeping your knees nice and soft too. Again, you can do this however long you want. There's also a part called drumming where you tap acupressure points. First one is the lung, one of the lung acupressure points just inside your shoulder, that little hollow at the end of your collarbone. And then at the base of the rib cage. And then just inside the hip, inguinal crease, Chinese would be called the qua. And then lower dantian And then just swing. Just come back to center. Arms come up, just like you're holding a really large balance ball. Upper hand's going to keep your head relatively still. Lower hand's going to move your hip out. Keep your knees nice and soft. Loosening up the lower back. Hands come down. Again, shift your weight from one side to the other. Just relax everything. Let your index fingers point towards the ground. Shift all your weight into one foot. Just relax down into it. Just breathe. Feel the heel of the other foot naturally float up off the floor. And then just let that foot, as best you can, float up off the floor. Come back to the center. Weight shifts over into the other foot. Foot just floats up. And you can put your hand on a chair or the wall, whatever. Even just a finger on something really helps, or visualize yourself doing that. Whatever works. Back to the center. This time it's like you have a helium balloon on your knee that just floats that foot up. And then the other side. Heel floats up. The other side. One of the things that helps is keeping your eyes on something that's not moving. We have 3 things that help us with balance: our vision, our inner ear, and our sense of proprioception, the feedback we get from our muscles up to our brain. Just bring your knee up and just your hands drop. If you're looking to improve your balance, one of the things I learned probably 25 years ago, before I ever even started doing things like this much, it's back in all yoga days, was balancing on one foot with your eyes closed 30 seconds on a side for 3 times every day. And it was really helpful in road races if your foot came down on something that wasn't exactly as substantial as you thought. It could keep you from taking a fall. But that's something you ease your way into. Because when you close your eyes and try to stand on one foot, it can be a little more difficult, or sometimes a lot more difficult. Okay, bring your feet down. Shift your weight into one foot. Other foot naturally floats up, goes straight ahead. Just hold it and let it ease back down. Like you're walking through water. You have access to a pool. You do these exercises in the pool and it almost feels like you're weightless when you do them, and it actually does help balance until somebody else hops in and swims next to you and their waves and knock you over. But before that, it works pretty well. Shift your weight diagonally across. It's an inhale. And an exhale. Just shift your weight back. As best you can, you keep your feet parallel and shoulder width like you're walking on railroad tracks. If your foot, when you go back, tends to want to rotate on that forefoot out to 45 degrees, that's fine. Bring your feet back parallel. Shift your weight into one foot, adjust the other foot to 45 degrees. Shift your weight into that foot. Step over into a T-step, step straight up again like you're walking on railroad tracks into a forward bow stance, reverse bow stance, adjust the front foot 45 degrees, shift your weight up. And again, you can do this as slow as you want. You don't have to touch the foot down. Bring it around if you're working on balance. And down, shift into it, ease into it. Remember to keep the knee behind the toe in that front foot. Come back, reverse bow stance, foot comes in. Steps out and back, comes down at 45 degrees, shift your weight back, front foot adjusts. So the toes are straight ahead. For me, it was drilled into my head for a couple decades. Step out and back and adjust on the heel, but if you have issues with your hips, so you have to step straight back and your heels come down almost lined up like that, just adjust on your forefoot. Come back to center. Feet shoulder width apart, arms folded up with the palms facing down like you have strings on your wrists, and down. Let's do 3 of those, that feels good. Just like a wave expanding and contracting. Shift your weight over either side, it doesn't matter. Or at the wild horse's mane. 1, 2, 3. Back hand takes up the back foot half a step, hold the ball, shift your weight back. White crane spreads wings. Into brush knee push. Or brush knee twist step, whichever name you prefer. Little half step, come up for playing the lute, and then repulsing the monkey. Grasp the bird's tail, ward off, roll back, press, push, back to the center. We'll do open and close from Sun style. By the way, every movement in Tai Chi is a Qigong movement. Ward off, roll back, press, push, come back. We'll do open, close, and then we'll do stand in place, shifting weight from one side to the other, waving hands like clouds. Back to the center, we'll do it to the corner, we'll do a golden rooster standing on one leg. To the other corner, golden rooster standing on the other leg. Another balance exercise, come back. I'm going to kick with this foot, so this hand's going to drop down, come underneath. Kick with the heel. And into the other side. Back, open, close. Sun style, wave hands like clouds. Difference being Yang style, hands are facing towards you when they go by. Upper hand goes out, drops down like it's going to hit on a drum head, then they're facing towards you when they go by. Sun style a little easier. Upper hand is palm out, drops down, and it's palm down all the way across. If you're doing it strictly as a Qigong exercise and practicing it just standing in place like this, try both of them and see which ones make your hands tingle more at that time. Hands come down. Bring your feet to that second shoulder width position. The insides of the feet line up with the outside of the shoulders, and like you're holding something in front of you, fingertips facing earth position. Just inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Earth gives rise to metal. Hands come up for open and close. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Back to earth. Metal gives rise to water. Hips go back. Head stays over your foundation. 70% of your range of motion. Water flows down. Exhale down. Inhale up. Water gives rise to wood. Rotate your hands. Fingers are pointed forwards. Come up in a big circle about chin high, then back down about waist high. Inhale down. Exhale up. Back to earth. Rotate on that center axis. Again, just from the hips up till your left hand lines up with your left hip. Right hand comes up on top. As you inhale, hands separate. As you exhale, they come back together. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, so we're going to rotate on that center axis as we do. The hands rotate, keeping the palms facing again. Inhale. Exhale. Back to the center, hands come up. And it's a massage first down the back. You can rub your kidneys if you want to, a little extra. Down, tops of the feet, back up. In Chinese medicine, kidneys are where the chi you inherit from your parents is stored. It's a very important part of Chinese medicine. Bring your arms around like you're hugging a big old tree. Elbows drop down a little bit, shoulders nice, relaxed, fingers facing. 5 breaths at your own pace. Again, if you're using this for standing meditation, you can hold it as long as you want. Just remember, body straight, knees are slightly bent, toes are extended further than your knees, so your knees are behind your toes. At the end, you want to balance everything out. Inhale up and exhale down. One more. Left foot comes in, left hand's flat, thumb comes in, right hand's a fist. They come together, fist into the palm. Thank you for joining. Stay safe, healthy, and namaste for folks, and stay well. Different schools will start forms in different ways. One school my teacher's teacher went to, oftentimes you start this way. They start like this. And they also, at the end of every form, bow. See you next time. Bye-bye.